studying Psalm 22, and David is listed as the author. Scholars have wondered if he was writing about maybe fear of his enemies. Maybe he was concerned that they might capture him and torture him or execute him. He seems to be pleading with God to spare him from some horrible end, and if so, his prayer at the end is very beautiful, and it was answered because he ends the psalm praising God for deliverance. But the problem is that David never experienced anything like this in these circumstances. There's no known incident in the life of David that fits what's going on in this psalm. So what does the psalm mean? New Testament writers saw a connection between this psalm and the crucifixion of Christ. There seems to be an exact description of what Jesus experienced, even though crucifixion had not even been invented when David wrote this psalm. The author of Hebrews quotes this psalm as coming out of the very mouth of Jesus the Messiah in Hebrews 2:12. As a result, the church throughout history has by and large believed that Psalm 22 is an example of what we call typology, a type of the death of Christ. It means that the psalm foreshadows what we see in the New Testament. It means that David used poetic expressions under the influence and direction of the Holy Spirit to portray the immense suffering of the Son of God on the cross. He was writing about an event that would occur thousands of years later. So in a sense, what we're seeing is that Jesus is speaking through David. I wonder if this psalm could also be considered prophecy. In a way, it's a call to the Jews to see that a suffering Messiah is really part of God's plan, and it's actually foreshadowed in the Old Testament, which is their scriptures particularly. The details are just exactly like what happened to Jesus. It's difficult to see how one could miss that connection. But then if one doesn't want to believe, it's difficult to believe. I tell you all this to help you understand why Lesson 8 is written from this perspective. If you prefer not to see it from that perspective, that's okay. I would not argue with anyone over these issues. But for me, Psalm 22 is about Jesus. May the words of Psalm 22 bless you. May they bless you and help you to see the beautiful picture of what the cross means